And when we whoop enough ass, everybody gonna get in line and do right. All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, family. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're not going to be very long, but I wanted to come and talk to you all today over this thing about love and hate in God's judgment on America. Peace and blessings, Brother Deacon. Deacon of Reality, glad you're here, big bro. And so normally we come with our panel and we do a panel discussion. But today we're going to step back and, I'm going to do my own little presentation today on this topic because it's a topic that has to be discussed. Peace and blessings, MDP, peace and blessings. Glad you're here. And so, it's going to be a little different than before because I can't work the comments and do what I need to do at the same time. So I'm not going to be able to hit the comments like normal when we're doing the panel, because then I'm not just, solely presenting. I'm playing the moderator. But today we're going to go back into what we used to do. We're going to go old school. Hate. The topic today, the answer of hate and the confusion of love. And I say the answer of hate because we have been loving the wrong people. Peace and blessings, Brother Twin Pyramid. We're glad that you're here today. We've been loving the wrong type of beings. The wrong type of beings. We've been loving our enemies at our own expense. So my purpose, anytime I do anything, my purpose is to help educate our people on the time and what must be done. It is to help make us into a better people so that we can have improved lives and also that we may escape the judgment that's going to come down or that is coming down on the United States of America. And you got to be understanding what time is it and where the anger of our God will be directed and what must you do so that you can stay clear of that wrath. Because this enemy has earned the wrath of our God. Hate. Well, we're taught in the Quran, it says that don't let your hatred cause you to act unjust. So that lets you know that you do have a right to hate. It's your right. It lets you know that even dealing in your hatred, you still have a responsibility to act right. Some say, well, we don't go by the Quran, we go by the Bible. Well, the Bible tells you when they talked to Jesus and they asked him a question, And he said to them, he gave them a parable. He said, the vineyard, the owner of the vineyard leased it to some people for a short time while the owner was gone. And during the time that the owner was gone, he would send servants back to check on the vineyard. And they killed the servants every time they came. So the owner said, well, I'm going to send my son to check out the vineyard. They sent the son. He sent the son. They said, oh, he done sent his son. What are we going to do now? They said, we're going to kill him. Son came, they killed him. Then Jesus asked them, what will the owner of the vineyard do when he returns? They said, he will utterly slay them. Jesus didn't say, you're wrong. He said, you are correct. Now, in that parable, the vineyard represents the earth. And the earth has been given a rise or authority for a time period over to the enemy. And that time period is up. And it is time for the slaying to begin. When Abraham, in the Bible, when the Lord came with his angels and said, Abraham, we about to go down there in Sodom and Gomorrah, and we're going to kill everybody there except Lot, your nephew, and his family. But everybody else, we're going to kill them all. Abraham said, well, Lord, you going to kill the righteous with the wicked? Now, God knew. Abraham didn't understand. So he said, Abraham, go find me 100. You find me 100 righteous outside of Lot and his family, then I'll save the whole city. Abraham went out, came back, couldn't find 100. God said, go find 50. Come back, couldn't find 50. Go find 20. Go find 10. Go find 5. Go find me 1. Go find me 1 outside of Lot and his people, and I'll save the city. Abraham came back and said, I can't even find you 1. It says the angels went and destruction and fire and brimstone fell that very day. See, we got to understand that we should be in agreement with the decisions of our God, but instead of being in agreement, we sit back and say, no, you're wrong. I know there's some good white folks out there. I know there's some good white folks out there. No. Look here. Malcolm said, you teaching your babies about snakes? You ain't got time to decipher which one is a poisonous from which one is not. So you keep them away from all snakes. See, it's the nature of the thing that doesn't change. Their nature and your nature, our nature, is not the same nature. And they've used your nature against us. Well, we're going to look at this because we're gonna back it up, and we're going to look at it from a certain stage in our time with this enemy. And we're going to just walk it through. And I'm going to show you, because I forget who said it when we were on the panel, I believe Sunday. And I think it was Norma X, and hopefully Norma will be in so that they can see this. Peace and blessings, big brother Roy. Glad you're here, big bro. Because I said that it's okay to hate, and them hating us has not harmed them. And they were like, well, yes, it is. You can see the destruction. You can see the things that's going on because of their hatred. No, it ain't because of their hatred of us. It's because of their evil deeds that they have done and continue to do to us, which has earned them God's destruction, which has earned them the death that they seek for you, for me, for us, for our babies. This same destruction, they're going to eat. They're going to eat because of the deeds that were done to us. So let's check this out, and I'm going to stop it at different points and make my points about it. But you got to remember what was done that made you in the condition that you are in today. And you got to understand that our God hates them. And it ain't wrong for you to hate them. Now, I'm quite sure by the time I finish this, I'll probably get hit with a YouTube strike for hate speech. Ain't that a damnable thing? Peace and blessings, Brother Robert. We're glad that you're here with us today. Peace and blessings, big bro. That you gonna charge me with hate speech because I'm telling the truth. See, there's no way to tell truth and not offend the guilty. No way. So they're going to blame the bearer of truth with the crimes that they do. Now I'm teaching actual facts. Actual facts. There's not one part of what I'm going to bring to you today that they'll say he's lying. Have you ever noticed they never hit me with he's a liar? He's lying. They always hit me with he's a racist, he's a hate teacher, this, that, but they never said that I be lying. Because they know it is the truth. They know this is the truth. Exactly. And deep, this is what after the program Sunday, I was doing more research on James Baldwin and Bayard Rustin. And come to find out, they had white lovers. So not only did Dr. King have a white girl before he married Coretta, but James Baldwin and Bayard Rustin, who's teaching black people to love white people, they up there sleeping with white men and telling black people to love them. What in the hell? This thing, the sickness of it, the repugnance of it, that because they are loving their white gay men, they have the nerve to tell black people, we gotta love them. The nerve. Welcome, peace and blessings, Brother Willie. I'm glad you're here with us today, bro, because we getting into it. We getting into it today. But we're gonna look at this thing to see, again, as a reminder of who you dealing with. Because you don't need no cracker lover to come to you and tell you to love them. You don't need that. No, we don't have love for none of them. None. They want you to be docile. Do you know and understand that when they were getting their colonization together, they didn't want no Islamic black people. They didn't want no black people where Islam has touched them, because they knew that the militant nature of the black man, when it's united with truth, it will cause them to kill. And they were beaten many, many times before. They said, we don't want no Islam in America. We got to make sure that shit stay out of here. Because it was the reasoning, it was the motivating factor. Excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups here. But when you understand that the Quran is not a book that tells you to love your enemies, it don't tell you that. It tells you, you hear white folks say all the time, peace is secured through strength. Well, where did they get it from? They got it from the Quran. That's a law, a principle passed down from our God to us to tell us, you want peace, develop your strength, because you got to whoop some ass to handle and make sure peace is delivered. You got to understand that. Yes, Brother Deacon. I need this to get out. I've been thinking about this message all day. All day I've been thinking about this message, and I was saying I can't wait to get home so I can deliver this. But peace is secured through strength. Our God is no punk. He wants us to fight them. That's why he said, look here. He said, it wasn't you who slayed them, but I slayed them by your hands. By your hands. That you're not going in the battle alone. I'm going with you. And I'm going to direct your hands. See, we're in this damnable position because we have too many people seeking to be accepted, seeking to be loved, seeking peace on terms that are deadly for black people. You know what? You don't get no peace with an enemy that plots your death every minute of the day, every second of the day. They plot your destruction. And we got to be able to look and understand what's going on. Yeah, they want trophies from the beast. The hell is wrong with you? You would rather carry a sign saying, I'm a man, and picket instead of whooping his motherfucking ass. Whoop his ass, teach him to respect you. Let him understand that violence is not a one-way street. Let them understand that. And the minute they understand that, the minute they're going to say, okay, well, hold on. Let's negotiate. Let's be peaceful about it. Let's figure this thing out. That's just for both sides. Because they understand that you're going to whoop that ass. When you understand that it's your God-given right, see, this is how they trick you from using your God-given rights. They set up a system that there's no justice for you. And then they tell you, well, something happened. Instead of you being a vigilante, you call us. We'll come and we'll decide whether there's a crime committed or not. And if there's no crime committed, then you have to accept our judgment and be okay with it. Nigga, what? Understanding that they already know that you ain't gonna get no justice when you've been the victim. You ain't gonna get no justice. They already know what their plans are, so they wanna trick you into thinking that if I follow their rules, I'm gonna get justice. I'm going to be treated like I should be treated, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And we got to understand, you cannot put faith in a justice system that was never set up for you to get justice. So you have no right in believing and looking towards something from there that it wasn't meant to give you. You got to understand it. Exactly, big bro. Technology is real. And they've been tricking you and stringing you along. Stringing you along. You done believed in their mythologies. You sing their songs so patriotic, so lovingly. You've been more American than they have been. You've loved America more than they have ever loved America. But what has it gotten us? What has it gotten us? We join up their militaries to go fight, to go do this, to go do that. And what have we gotten in return? More death and destruction. More death and destruction. The very first place that I was ever called a nigger by the cracker was in the military. He was a platoon sergeant. Here I am, 19 years old, called a nigger by the cracker for the very first time. Because I believed the American lie. I believed, oh, ain't no racism, ain't no we're all green. We're all green. Exactly. I sure did want to whoop his ass. The wake-up call is ringing loud and forevermore. And we must hear it and do the right thing. And don't let somebody come and whisper into your ear the bullshit to get you trapped. Because what has happened to us, just like the spider web comes out the being of a spider. And when the fly lands on the spider web, now the spider can't see. The spider feels. But when that fly lands on that spider web, it has about 3 to 4 seconds to get out of that web before the spider gets there and injects a poison fluid into the spider and sucks out everything that was in the spider. And you and I, we've been on this spider web, and they done stuck us and sucked out of us the life that we have. It's time to break off that spider web. Wow, Brother Roy, you said you didn't know about Black Wall Street until you were past 50. They never will tell us what we're capable, what we have done, because they know we'll redo it again. We'll redo it again. We're going to go ahead and get into this video because we're not going to be long, but we will be strong. Let's get
The legend of the antebellum South. Elegant neo-Grecian mansions. Coquettish belles under the magnolias. Dancing with young men, gallant and reckless. Ready to duel for a lady's honor. The kindly master ruling his kingdom with justice and humanity. And served by his faithful, contented darkies. My name is R.C. Davis. I was born in Cogdale, Georgia. The South and the Southern way of life has always been an enigma, a kind of sphinx on the American land, one writer said.
White people speak of their way of life with pride and affection. But one white man from Maryland, H.L. Mencken, wrote, fundamentalism, Ku Kluxery, revivals, lynchings, Ogwalla politics, these are the things that always occur to a Northerner when he thinks of the South. What is the Southern way of life? Is it based on the myth or the reality of the past? Did it ebb its life away at Shiloh and Gettysburg? Or does it still live for the 43 million whites and 11 million Negroes who live there today? I love the South, a man said in 1958. I don't choose to live anywhere else. There's land there where a man can raise cattle. That's what I'm going to do someday. There are lakes where man can sink a hook and fight the bass. There's room there where my children can play and grow and get to be good citizens. Medgar Evers, a Negro, said that. Our program in the History of the Negro People series deals with the life of the Negro in the South, in the past and in the present.
The past is never dead, William Faulkner wrote. It is not even past. This is Oxford, Mississippi, where the past is preserved in granite monuments that record a tragic and glorious history. But in Oxford, the past lives beyond images etched in stone. It survives in the memories and in the myths of its people. Yet Oxford is an ambitious community facing the promise and the problems of the 20th century. Perhaps Oxford can best be described by its mayor.
Oxford consists of some fine people, both colored and white. It's a town of about 6,000 people, people that like to tend to their own business, and they like to try to help in every way possible in the civic affairs, in the church affairs, and try to build a better community. Oxford is, in my opinion, is one of the finest little communities to raise a family. We've been used to more or less a segregated life. This is something that our colored people here are adjusted to. They are happy and they're well satisfied. A lot of them depend largely upon the white. And I would like to say this, that the white people here depend largely on them for help and so on. And they will go to their aid. That's what the colored people like. They like someone that if they get in trouble, or sickness, or that church should burn or something, the white people here step in and they help them out, and the colored people appreciate it.
Now, look at this bullshit. Where our colors, they like for the whites to look after them. They know we're gonna look after them. Their church burn, and we're gonna come help them. See, they have this, and this is not just South. This is America, period. This ideology runs rampant throughout. As the report on the Negro family said, it runs through the veins. It is the blood of the American system. This racism, white supremacy bullshit, it is the blood that keeps this system flowing in a way that's optimized for them. Exactly, Deacon. It's worldwide. There is universal, look at it, when it comes to who Black people are and how we should be treated, is universal agreement among them that we are the niggas. And the niggas must always serve them. It's universal agreement with them on that. But we got to break that shit up. Because that ain't going to fly. That don't work for us. Exactly, cause chaos and then appear as the white savior. You got that, Brother Roy? They are the hidden hand behind every negative issue out there. They got their hands in it. I guarantee you. Any problem that you face, I guarantee you can trace the roots straight to the cracker. I guarantee you. Straight to the cracker. They want to always make it seem like you can't live without their help. That's right, Brother Deacon. We will rule every nation. That's why they say, and I meant to say this on Sunday, but I'll say it again on Friday when Doc is present, because he said, well, where's black land at? There's no black land. But look here, we own this whole earth. Belongs to us. Every part of it belongs to us. We are the original inhabitants of this earth. So no, you're not going to just limit me to one little piece of partial of land here and tell me I don't belong here. All of it belongs to us. So black is universal. We own all of it. And the enemy wants you to see yourself as a little piece of person that only belongs on this part of land, and you're alien to everything else. When we were there way before they ever got there, we were the original inhabitants of all the lands, and all of it shall return back unto us. This thing gonna be set right. And see, this is why when we were on radio, because we had our very strong following in what is called Africa and England, and they wanted to break that up because they didn't want this message to be worldwide, because this is not a message built on nonviolence. We do not accept that frame of reference that you can whoop my ass and I'm going to turn the other cheek. I'm going to bend over 3 times so you can kick me in the ass. No, we don't believe in that. We believe that when we whoop enough ass, everybody gonna get in line and do right. Everybody. And they know we outnumber them worldwide. And if our brothers and sisters get a hold of this and begin to latch on and begin to rise and whoop their ass, where they gonna go? Because everywhere they went, we sent them. Where are they going to go? You can't hide. You can't hide. Even Allah says in the Quran that the rocks will say, hey, you got an enemy right here. Come kill him. He's over here. Exactly, Brother Deacon. We believe in Cassie's word. Because that's right. That's just. And we got to be able to understand that. The enemy is the enemy, and them bastards not changing. They want a world built on luxury for them and hell for you and I. To be always subservient to them. Exactly, Brother Roy. It's because of the wrongdoings of these devils. The catastrophes are here. Their time is up. It is up. That's why it's essential that we take power. It was sometimes when we were down in Mississippi and we were visiting other cities in the state of Mississippi. And like in the beginning, and they showed that big monument to the Confederates. We walked past a couple of them in different cities. And some of these cities, as you're driving into them, there's a heaviness. There's a heaviness that comes over you. And you can feel what our people went through. You can literally feel as you're driving through and you see in these trees, you can feel it. You can feel the pain and the agony. And they're going to pay for that. They're going to pay for that. They don't get away. They're going to pay for it. You can best believe that. It's so heavy. It is so heavy. Thank you, Brother Deacon, because I didn't know whether I was making you understand the heaviness of it. It's heartbreaking. Yes, if those trees could only talk. That's why, if y'all remember the video when we went to where they killed our brother Emmett Till, and we was on that farm, and I went with the video and looked into the barn, and then went and knocked on the front door. And them crackers would have came and opened that door. It wouldn't have been no words. It'd have been ass whooping. It would have been ass whooping right on the point. That's why I had instructed my partner, look, when the shit go, you drive off. Because I knew I'm coming for battle. They opening that door, I'm fucking them up, straight up. That's the day and time it is. That's the day and time it is. When we had our Black First Day in New York, y'all remember when they had in New York where the Asians were beating the black women up in the nail shop with the brooms and stuff, locked the door on them and was whooping them and that shit. And they were doing their little protest and shit. And then we were supposed to have our event. We did have our event up there. And I had called to say, to ask somebody, is that still going on? Have they settled that? Because if not, then I'm going to go up there and I'm going to settle it the Black First way. And they was like, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, most definitely, Deke. Most definitely. We have to make sure that we institute what we believe, what we know is truth. Because that's how we turn things around. And we are in the time now of our rise. And that's how we have to take power and run with it. And run with it. Because we can govern. We are the originators of it. And it's time now to turn the seas, to turn. All this goddamn labor that they doing, building up a lovely existence for the enemy. That the enemy still controls. And you ain't got nothing and you built the whole damn thing. Them days over. Them days are over. and we're going to take what is rightfully ours.
There are 1,600 Negroes in Oxford, mostly unskilled. There are few jobs except as janitors, cafeteria, and yard workers. In the Negro quarter, large families live in 2 and 3 rooms. As in most Southern communities, Negro women are the main support of the family, working as maids, washwomen, and nurses. 73% of Oxford's Negroes receive some form of welfare relief.
Now look at this. They're in the barber chair, getting the shoes shined. They just living in fucking heaven. Just living in fucking heaven. What the song say that the minister say? The white man's heaven is the black man's hell. They just living in fucking heaven while we scrambling to make our little ends meet. While we're trying to go from A to B. Do you even realize with the minimum wage, when Franklin Roosevelt did the minimum wage, that shit wasn't to help black people? Because we were the ones that were working. And then he passed the law, the minimum wage law. So now the employers say, well, shit, if I gotta pay $3 an hour, I might as well pay $3 an hour to my own. So nigga, you fired. Come on in, Roy, and let me give you a job. Come on in, Tom, let me give you a job. Nigga, get the fuck out. Because they wanted to get the economy going and get white people back on their feet. So that caused us to lose even more of what we had. They don't pass law for our benefit. It ain't for our benefit. It's for their benefit. That's why all this shit come tumbling down. Their heaven is about to be destroyed.
At the Mary Buey Museum, Oxford's most celebrated citizen, William Faulkner, is memorialized. Mary Rowland is the custodian of the museum. As Faulkner described so vividly, she shares with most white Southerners a sense of intimacy with their Negroes.
The fact that we have a good set of Negroes here, and they don't want to be disturbed. They really are. I have one that I just love. She nursed my children for about 6 years, and I wouldn't have her want for a thing if I found out that she needed something. And I was right amused when my daughter from Arlington, Virginia came down. She was one of the children that Missy had nursed. And I got my son to drive us out to see Missy. And she had also nursed him. And his little boy was in the car with us. And when Missy came out, she said, "Look at my children." And she put her arm right around William's shoulder. And the little boy just looked up at her, you know. He didn't know what to make of it. And I said, "Listen, Billy, she was a mother to him for a while. I tell you, she helped nurse him." And so that's the association we had with them. And I presume there's still some good ones around. Of course, there are some getting some ideas, and that's all right. That's progress. But we've got some mighty good darkies here.
But we got some mighty good darkies here. Now you just think about this. Our sister nursed her demon children on her breast. Her breast milk that meant for her babies is now the devil babies is nursing. Getting enough strength to call her nigger. Getting enough strength to oppress her. So when she come out the house and put her arm around the little boy, look at my babies. And the other child look at them like, what the fuck? What's going on? That nigga touching them? And then she said, well, she nursed them. Ain't that some shit? You give them the life and they give you oppression. You give them the life and they call you nigger. You give them the life and they're putting on you death and destructions for your babies while they living good and you living in hell. Ain't got no shoes on your feet. Do you realize after slavery, we knew we got to educate our children? Two things that we knew automatically. One, we got to educate our children. Two, we got to separate from these demons. Off the bat, that was two things that they knew, that this is what we got to do, because y'all not going to change. They told them straight to your face. I forget the general name, but he was asking them about, do you want to live with us or you want to be separate? They said, we want to be separate because we know y'all have not changed. We want to be separate. But they said, no, we're going to put y'all niggas with us and y'all going to be all right. No, it ain't all right. Their white folk didn't get education. The poor whites didn't get education until they saw our children going to schools that we built for our babies. And then the government said, well, I'm going to give y'all a few dollars to help you educate. Then another white man said, well, wait a minute. If you giving the niggas money, you got to give money for the poor cracker to get some education. Because prior to that, there was no schools for them. If you wasn't rich, had money, your children wasn't getting educated. So the poor whites wasn't going to school. They didn't start going to school until we was going to school. Education for them wasn't even on their fucking mind. They was okay getting fucked over. They were okay being poor. But we understood we got to educate our own. And next thing you know, you go to all of this where, we got to bring them in. Let us make sure we educate the niggas. See, that's why today they understand that their birth rates have been cut. They understand that their power is being cut. So they don't want real history to be taught about what they've done to us. They don't want our children to know. Because if you know, then that puts a responsibility on you to say, wait a minute, you owe me, you owe us. And they don't want that. They don't want our children to know what they have done to us. Exactly, Brother Roy. They were the dumb police, the slave catchers, the uneducated whites. They don't want our children to know what they did to us. They don't want them to have any idea of why you're in the position that you're in. Because they know the thought is, oh, payback. Payback. They don't want our children to read. They don't want our children to know what was done. We have to teach it. We have to push it. We got to let our children understand the time and what must be done. Some of our people get in their ignorance and say, well, I don't want my child to know all about slavery and this, that. I don't want them to know anything about that. You don't want them to know what got you in that hell of a condition you in? I can remember in high school, and I knew about slavery. I didn't know enough, but I knew about it. But I had a question of why are we always the poor ones? Why are we always the less fortunate? Why are we always in this subservient condition? Why? I didn't understand the total reality of what was done to us. You know, I was in the 10th grade, but my history class that I was in I was in the 9th grade. The history class that I was in was the 11th grade, and I was teaching the 11th grade history class. The teacher, Mr. Vaughn, would be sitting at his desk and let me go up there and teach the class. And I would be teaching them. And I would have these conversations with Mr. Vaughn about, I don't understand why they don't catch it. I don't understand why they don't this, why they don't that. I don't understand it. When you realize the mind trick that was done to us as a people, and when you don't have the right knowledge come to you, that's like a needle in the brain that will zap you of all your intellect curiosity. You don't have no intellectual curiosity. Me, I just loved history. I loved it for the wrong reason. Because I was so brainwashed, like I told y'all, you know, America could do no wrong. I could sit back and run to you every name of the presidents, what they done, how good it was, boop, bop, 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 bop. I mean, I used to look up to white folks like, damn, I want to be like that. And to even think, my dad, a black man in the house with me, never had a problem, because I never said, I want to be like my dad. I want to be like this white man. And he never had a problem with that. Never had a problem with that. But he should have. He should have had a real problem with that, because he's failing his son. Because his son didn't see no value in a black man. When he looked at his father, he could not say, I want to be like my father. I said, I want to be like this white man. That's a problem. That's a major problem. And then once knowledge came to me, and I began to see reality for what it is. Then I saw the white man as the enemy, as the devil. Then I began to look up to black men. And he had a problem with that. And so one day, me and my dad, we're going to have this conversation. Because I got to have the answers of, why would you be okay with your son looking up to a white man instead of you? I can definitely proudly say that my boys looked up to their dad and still do. And still do. We got to make sure that our sons understand what it means to be a black man, to be a man of God. Not the cracker God, but our God. You ain't no punk. You ain't no nigga. You are the God. And you got to walk like that. That you have power. That you have control. And you ain't seeking to be no goddamn sycophant for nobody. Wow, that is good, Brother Roy. Brother Roy says, somehow I always sided with the underdog, even in my younger days, having no father around. Love that, Brother Roy. Love that. But we have to mentor our young men to understand the time and what must be done. And not let people remember when George Floyd was being murdered. Now I watched the trial and I did a teaching on this, but remember there was a black man who was an MMA fighter out there watching George be killed. And a teenager was up there in the apartment, ran down the steps because he was going to jump in to save Brother George. And this MMA fighter pulled him back and told him, no, don't get involved. Don't do this. And he sent the little brother back upstairs crying. Because his heart, he saw injustice and he went to save a brother that looked like him. But this MMA nigga stopped him and broke his heart and sent him back upstairs crying. And this nigga on the stand was feeling proud to have broken the spirit of our brother. That's why when the fight down there in Alabama and the brother jumped into the water to swim to the fight, because it's in us to fight back. It's in us to do what must be done. That spirit is there. It's been dormant. But the awakening, the coming to accept our own and what must be done. We're here to settle business. This is wartime. And we will be about that business. Thank you, 144. Brother, we back. Let's continue.
Progress in the South has always been measured by the darky and by cotton. First there was tobacco, rice, and indigo to be worked. But by the end of the 18th century, there was a severe depression. Slavery seemed doomed. Then, in 1793, the invention of the cotton gin. Cotton could now be mass-produced, and an economic boom was in the making. Black hands and black backs were needed again to support a land. Who else could work so hard, so long, and so cheaply? But there were dangers in the system. Slaves could run away, or fight, or kill. And so, black codes were established that declared slaves were not persons, but property. These chattels could not leave the plantation without authorization. They could not visit the homes of whites or free Negroes. And for those who had the courage or the foolishness to defy the code, there was the whipping post, branding, prison, or death. As the country moved toward war, white men had established a moral system to meet their needs. At the heart of it was a belief in the Negro's natural inferiority. Slavery was declared not only an economic, but a social good. South Carolina's governor said, "In all social systems, there must be a class to do the menial duties, to perform the drudgery of life. Such a class you must have, or you would not have that other class, which leads progress, civilization, and refinement.
See, and that's why they want to consistently make sure that our children are dumbed down so that our children can serve their damnable children. That's why they want that, because they want to make sure that their children are squared away, that their children are okay, because the darky, as she called us, the darkies will be there to serve. The darkies will make sure the menial tasks are done. Oh no. Oh no. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. When Twitter was still Twitter, the one white woman was on there. This cracker was going on Trump, blah 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 blah, Trump. And she was like, my family crest is on the Maryland state flag. So I said, well, damn, well, let me research you. I researched the cracker. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's you? Y'all motherfuckers own slaves. I tweeted her. I said, hey, you need to cut that check. You owe us some money, and we coming to get paid. And, of course, the cracker blocked me. Now, all prior, before I said that, she was all this anti-Trump shit. Oh, Trump is a racist, this, that, and the other thing. But yeah, when it's called out on you and what you owe black people, oh, you don't want to hear no shit about that. You don't want to hear nothing about that. You don't want to be brought to the table because you want to be seen as, oh, I'm a liberal white. Shit, ain't no such. You just the other side of the same old devil. Because you want the luxury for yourself and you want the toils for us. We're going to turn that table. You owe us. You owe us. And we coming to collect. We coming to collect. It ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. When we were down there in Marks, Mississippi, and there was a city council meeting, and, you know, we went there to speak, and I said what I had to say, and I swear to God, before it was over, before I was done, you had black people just coming from everywhere to hear what was going on in that council room. And this was Marks, Mississippi, is right where Martin Luther King was going to do his Poor People's Campaign. And when they heard your brother's voice and what I was saying, it struck a chord in them that made them stop what they were doing to come hear their brother and bear witness that it's time now. These motherfuckers have lived luxurious lives off the labor that we have done. And we got nothing but hard times to show for it. Oh no. There's a new day. As they say, there's a new sheriff in town, and we coming to collect what is ours. You ain't getting away with your thing.
And the North destroyed all this. All the gentility and pride and honor that white Southerners called a way of life. More than 600,000 died in the war. 250,000 Southerners. Black men also fought and died. Of 186,000 Negroes who enlisted in the Union Army, 38,000 died. the South lay devastated. Hell has laid her egg, said a Georgian visiting Atlanta. Right here it hatched. Galveston, a reporter said, was a city of dogs and desolation, utterly God-forsaken.
After the Civil War, everybody in this country, in the Mississippi Delta, was bankrupt. All the chattels were gone, the cotton and whatever cotton had been ginned, stored, was burned, and this country was destitute. And of course, the slaves, the freed Negroes, were just as destitute as the landowners. And they were both in a pretty difficult situation.
4 million Negroes were free. Free under the Federal Reconstruction Acts for the first time to own their own homes. Free to go to school. Free to vote and hold public office. The first mixed jury in the South was impaneled for the trial of Confederate President Jefferson Davis. Half of the jurors were Negroes. Before 1901, 22 Negroes were elected to Congress. There were 2 Negro senators from Mississippi. 33-year-old Blanche K. Bruce was one. John Mercer Langston, a Negro abolitionist, who became a representative from Virginia. B.S. Pinchback, acting governor of Louisiana. There was graft and corruption. But during this time, Negroes were influential in passing bills for free public schools, abolished property qualifications for voting, and ended use of the whipping post and branding iron. Today, these laws still exist for everyone but the Negro.
I think the thing that Reconstruction did was not as important as the fact that the slave was now free, and a place had to be found for him. And the number, the sheer number, you see, of these untrained people, well, it was a tremendous problem.
A tremendous problem that has always haunted the South. Jobs for Negroes. Negroes who were often stronger, more capable for the work required. A laborless, landless, and homeless class, Lincoln called them, caught in a hazy realm between bondage and freedom. But in 1866, Union General Hatch said, "At issue in the South is not what shall be done with the Negro, but what shall be done with the whites." They were the victims of poverty and poor land, of malaria and hookworm, about whom the Negroes used to sing, "You can't make a living on sandy land. I'd rather be a nigger than a poor white man." And to these whites, there was horror at the specter of black supremacy. Blacks winning control and competing for what had been exclusively theirs, lands, homes, and jobs. Birth of a Nation, a movie classic produced in 1915, dramatized what had now become the prevalent white attitude, the fear of incompetent, criminal, and savage Negroes who, with federal bayonets, ravaged an innocent South. And so, to save the South, the Ku Klux Klan organized in 1865. On horseback with guns, sword, and the cross, they terrorized Negroes and their sympathizers with violence, arson, and murder. Today, though their techniques have progressed to air-conditioned limousines, they are still active, still dedicated to their faith that Jesus Christ was not a Jew, that the Pope of Rome is Antichrist, and the Negro is a beast who must be suppressed.
To describe that bunch, I'd have to use a whole lot stronger than I'm permitted to use, being a minister of the gospel. Amen. They go into the auditorium.
Now, we got to make sure we understand, as this cracker just said, you know, he's a minister of the gospel. And why their Christianity is what made you a nigger. It's the very damn church that made you a nigger, that gave you this goddamn damnable religion and made you worship a white cracker, that you pray to this white cracker, and then you wonder why you can't find it in your heart to even think hard on them. Oh, we just got to love them. Oh, we just, we just got to be nice to them. Why? Because in your heart of heart, you think that that's God's people. Because they gave you this white Jesus. Now you think that God is white, and you think that white people are special. You think that white people are sacred. They ain't sacred. That's the damn devil itself. That's why when that cracker went into that church to kill up our people, and he said, before I pulled my gun out and they were praying, I thought, there's a nice group of people. Maybe I shouldn't kill them. Then he said, another thought said, yeah, go ahead and kill them. So I pulled out my gun and started shooting them. I guarantee you, when that cracker walked in and they saw him, they were so happy. Oh, we got a visitor. We got a white visitor at that. A nice white young man coming to sit and pray with us. Oh my God. Didn't realize they were dealing with the devil. Didn't realize that the very embodiment of Satan is in the house. And he has come to kill. And he killed. And he killed. That's right, Deke. That white kid was their death wish. We got to be able to really understand who they are and what they're capable of. You got to be able to understand it and see the threat for what it is and be ready to kill them. Be ready, be willing, because they're coming, and they're not coming to give you love. They're not coming to give you joy. They're coming to give you death. Robert Epps said, you know what I just found out? That the Antichrist term is a substitute word for the prophecy of the man of sin, the son of perdition, who would be revealed, 2 Thessalonians. When we even just think about that, the man of sin, the Bible says, is this the man that made the earth to tremble? Is this the man that made the earth to tremble? Everybody's scared of this cracker. But it ain't nothing to be afraid of. Because if we stop in reality and just think, if we just think, the Revolutionary War, they wouldn't have won that war if it wasn't for us. Because Franklin was begging France to jump in the war, but France was like, why am I going to jump in the war when y'all getting your ass kicked? It ain't nothing for me to benefit. But when we got in it, then the tide was turning. And then France said, okay, yeah, I can see that now. I can see that now because y'all may win. Looks like y'all going to win. So, yeah, I can see that now. But before that, it was no, no, no. And they talk about Crispus Attucks was the first person to die in the Revolutionary War. In the Revolutionary War, right? How did Crispus Attucks actually die? He was done like Trayvon Martin. That's what. See, they were in the bar. Trayvon part wasn't, he wasn't in the bar, but we're going to get to that part. But they were in the bar, and they were drinking, getting rowdy, you know, Crispus Attucks and his white friends, so-called. And then they left the little tavern, and the British soldiers came up, was talking their shit about quiet down, stop being so loud. And Crispus said some words. Next thing you know, they were like, what? Who this nigga think he is? Oh, no, we gonna get you, nigga. Boom! Shot him. Dead. Dead. Now, his white friends, his buddies that was getting drunk with him, saw it. They didn't jump up and say, now we about to whoop your ass. No. They used his death as the mantra for the Revolutionary War. That's how Crispus Attucks died. They used his death as their rallying cry of why we need to be separate from the king. That's how they say that Crispus Attucks was the first person to die in the Revolutionary War. But his death, quote unquote, was the cause of the war. And what they said was, if they can do it to him, ain't gonna stop them from doing the shit to us, because they was doing the shit to us over there in England. So we can't have that shit done right here. It's time to go to war. They use you. Use you. Every gain that they have amassed came at your expense. Came at your expense. They didn't know nothing about about creating a hospital, separating your sick from your non-sick. They didn't know nothing about that. They were dealing with the Black Plague, the death plague up in Europe. You didn't have nothing to do with that, because you knew how to separate your sick from those who were not sick. You knew how to take care of your sick. You had hospital. They didn't know nothing about it. When they came to your land and saw, oh, this is what y'all do. Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Well, let's take that back and let us do it. Every stage of their advancement, you're there. You're the motivator. You're the thing, you're the brain power behind it that they need. This is the reality. That's why they never want you to go too far, because they know if the nigga go too far, we may not be able to rein him back in, and we may lose some of what they got. So let's keep them around us as servants. So when they think of something, we can take it and claim it. This is what you got to understand. At every stage of their advancement, you are there. You are there. You are there. You don't need them, because you're already there. You're already there. You got to understand the reality of this thing. Like Brother Robert said, when you think about the Antichrist, you think about something spooky, and miss the reality of who the man of sin is, and that is the whole white race. That's the reality. And look here, you can't pray that away. It's their nature. You can't love that away. It's their nature. It's who they are. It's who they are. It's what they do. And you can't run from it. You can't change it. It is what it is. Now we have to be able to understand it and accept it for what it is. Accept it for what it is. Accept it for what they are. They are Satan. They're not you. And that's it. Exactly. Exactly, Brother Roy. They taught us that the real devil with a tail and pitchfork is underneath the ground. Come on now. Think. Come out of the spookism and walk into the reality. And you'll be able to see things, see them just as they are. And welcome, Sister Mayat, to the program. Peace and blessings, Mayat. Peace and blessings, Brother Robert Epps. Welcome to the program. Peace and blessings. We're talking about the answer of hate and the confusion of love. Because we got to understand who the enemy is. And you cannot offer your enemy love. You don't offer your enemy love. That's why Allah says in the Quran, why? I mean, just think about it. God is saying to you, why would you offer them love when they're trying to drive you out? Have you no sense at all? That's an asinine way. That's why God is saying, have you no sense at all? That you're going to offer your enemy love while they offer you death? While they offer your children death? You want to love them. How crazy is that? You want to marry them. How stupid is that? You want to have sleepovers with them. How dumb is that? And what happens to you? Dead. I don't know how she died. I don't know. Dead. You got to realize that this is the reality. And you got to understand your role. Now, you want to stay in Spookville and be all out there on the clouds and keep getting taken day in and day out, then you do it at your own peril, your children's peril, your family's peril. Time is over for that. We got to deal with the real. Period, point blank. This ain't no game.
The gymnasium for the after football game dance. Then comes along one of the nigger football players, and they all go piled in there together like that you are here tonight, just like a bunch of OICs and Berkshire Hogs all trying to loosen a lot together. They go in there and they get to rubbing around, smelling that vanilla flavoring. Could you conceive the idea of your fair-skinned daughter, her dancing partner be tagged on the shoulder By some burn-head, liver-lip, goat-smelling, egg-faced nigger. Can you conceive such a thing? Are you going to do something about it?
Reverend W.N. Redmond, as most Southern Negroes, has been an eyewitness to the vigilante system.
Now, for some of our people who may say, well, Brother Muhammad, that was them years ago. That's not who they are today. They're different today. This group of white folks, they're the nice group. They're not like those in the past. Well, we're going to show you. Listen to this, and then I'll show you the modern context of what he just talked about. Listen.
System of Negro control. At 14, he remembers the punishment of a Negro father and son who had killed a white man's dog.
They took him and put him in jail and they beat him. And then they got together on a Saturday. And they tied him with barbed wire, hand and feet. They put barbed wire around the neck and put the father on one side of the bumper and the Negro and the son on the other side of the bumper. They drug them all over the town. And after that, they were drugged to the neighborhood, the Negro's neighborhood. They were told that this is the way that we're going to keep the Negro in this place. And they took gas, gasoline, and they poured it on them, and they burned them up.
Free.
Now, a father and son supposedly killed the white man's dog. They beat him, threw him in jail, got him out the jail, tied them to each on one side of the bumper, drove them through the city, drove them through where the black people live at to make an example of them, poured gasoline on them, and then burned them up. Y'all remember Robert Byrd, who them crackers put him, just like he just explained, tied them to a bumper and drove him around till his head came off his body. Till his head came off his body. These low down dirty bastards are the same that they were yesterday. They the same low down dirty bastards today. And look, there's more than just Robert Byrd. Look at this. Now they burned that brother. Now this brother, now I talked about this a few years ago. I just want to remind you. Because this brother right here was boiled to death. While in prison, they boiled him to death in the goddamn shower. Boiled him to death. No charges. No charges. And this the cracker who had the ability to do up charges on the officers who boiled, like you're boiling an egg, who boiled our brother to death. And she said, no crime committed. Now, this happened in 2012. 2012. So for y'all who say, oh, that was back then, they're not the same. They've changed. This happened in 2012. There's no changing. It's the nature. It's the nature. So on June 23rd, 2012, Darren Rainey, a schizophrenic man serving time for cocaine possession, was thrown into a prison shower at the Dade Correctional Institution. The water was turned up to 180 degrees, hot enough to steep tea or cook ramen noodles. Hot enough to cook ramen noodles. they boiled our brother to death. As his punishment, 4 correctional officers, John Fan, Cornelius Thompson, Ronald Clark, Edwina Williams, kept Rainey in the shower for 2 full hours. 2 full hours at 180 degrees. Rainey was heard screaming, "Please take me out. I can't take it anymore." Kicking the shower door, inmates said prison guards laughed at Rainey and shouted, "Is it hot enough?" 2 hours, 180 degrees. He's begging, "Let me out. Let me out." And they said, "Is it hot enough?" Rainey died inside that shower. He was found crumbled on the floor. When his body was pulled out, nurse said burns covered 90% of his body. A nurse said his body temperature was too high to register with a thermometer, and his skin fell off at the touch. At the touch! They boiled this brother. And you think that these are God's people. This is Satan's people. His skin just fell off the bone. Their skin fell off the bone. This is satanic people. But an unconscionable decision by Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez Rundle's office announced Friday that the 4 guards who oversaw what amounted to a medieval era boiling will not be charged with a crime. They will not be charged with a crime. They said the shower was itself neither dangerous nor unsafe, the report says. The evidence does not show that Rainey's well-being was grossly disregarded by the correctional staff. Oh, damn. You burn a man, you boil a man to where his skin falls off the damn bone. And there's no crime committed? No crime at all? You just let it go? Unpunished? The inmates in the jail said they do black inmates like that. But in your investigation, you couldn't find no information to charge these people with crime? What is going on? So you don't have to go back to the medieval days. You can go back to 1965. You can go back to 1930. Hell, you could go back to 1920 and quote unquote civilize America. In civilized America, you ain't got to go to medieval times. They're no different. They're no different. Maya said Thomas Lee Rutledge was baked to death in Alabama. Exactly, Brother Roy. They wanted to make an example that I'm going to boil this nigga to death and ain't no charges going to come to me. So y'all niggas better get your shit together because I can kill all of you and nothing will be done to me. They want to make an example. Now, you gotta be a devil, a satanic being to the 20th power that you can hear a man begging to be let out, smelling burning, and you don't even open the door. You laugh at him and ask him, is it hot enough? You want to offer these demons love? You want them to be your friend? You don't want to hate them, but you want to love them. Have you no sense at all? Exactly, Maya. Kendrick Johnson. Dead body rolled up in a mat in high school. No conviction. And from what I heard, the white boy who did it, his daddy is somebody big in the FBI. So they're going to protect their own demons because that's what they do. That's what they do. They don't teach their children to love you. They don't teach their children that you are their equal. But our sick people want to offer Satan love. That's a sickness. And it's time for you to come out of that sickness. It's time for you to wipe your eyes so you can see them as they are. Hell, we ain't making this up. This is what they have done. And this is what they do. And they do it with a smile. They do it happily. You better realize this is the real deal. And let's continue. Let's continue. We're almost done.
Freedom and truth for former slaves required new definitions. Sheriff Boyce Bratton comments.
I feel that the Negro here in Lafayette County in Mississippi has freedom, all the freedom he wants. He's not tied by any laws, man-made laws, or made by Congress or any other lawmaking body. He has all the freedom that he wants. The Negro is not deprived of any freedom here in Mississippi.
Jim Crow, it was called. Beginning in 1870, signs went up all over the South separating the races and taking away the Negroes' newly won rights. Negroes and whites were separated on trains and buses.
Now, this cracker say that in Mississippi, black people got all the rights and, you know, the laws. They do a crime, they don't go to jail, nothing happens to them, but the white man will go to jail. Now, let's look. Let's look at some of these martyrs. May 7, 1955, Reverend George Lee, one of the first black people to register to vote in Humphreys County, used his pulpit and his printing press to urge others to vote. White officials offered Lee protection on the condition he end his voter registration efforts, but Lee refused and he was murdered, and nobody went to jail. August 13, 1955, Brookhaven, Mississippi. Lamar Smith was shot dead on the courthouse lawn by a white man in broad daylight. while dozens of people watched. The killer was never indicted because no one would admit they saw a white man shoot a black man. Smith had organized blacks to vote in the recent election. Shot him, point blank, broad daylight, people out watching. Nobody went to jail, no charges. Let's keep going. Oh, we know our brother, August 28, 1955, Money, Mississippi. Emmett Lewis Till, 14-year-old boy on vacation from Chicago, reportedly flirted with a white woman in the store. And now we find out that that was a lie. He didn't even flirt with the cracker. 3 nights later, 2 men took Till from his bed, beat him, shot him, and dumped his body in the Tallahatchie River. An all-white jury found the men innocent of murder. Can you imagine that? Cracker can come up in your house, take your family member out, kill him, and he ain't running out, he walking out your house. He walking out your house over a damn lie. Over a damn lie. There's a problem here. There's serious problems here. October 22nd, 1955, Mayflower, Texas. John Earl Reese, 16 years old, was dancing in a cafe when a white man fired shots into the window. Reese was killed and 2 others wounded. The shootings were part of an attempt by whites to terrorize blacks into giving up plans for a new school. Because they wanted a new school. The crackers say they gotta die because they wanted a new school. Robert says, why do you love a system and a people who treat us like this? We offer them love and they offer us death in return. January 23rd, 1957, Montgomery, Alabama. Willie Edwards Jr., a truck driver, was on his way to work when he was stopped by 4 Klansmen. The men mistook Edwards for another man who they believed was dating a white woman. They forced Edward at gunpoint to jump off a bridge into the Alabama River. Edward's body was found 3 months later. Forced him to jump in the Alabama River. No charges. Get away scot-free. The law protects them. The law protects them. One white man, I forget, maybe about 4 years ago, shot the black girl. Police came to his house. He's like, what's the problem? I only shot a nigga. What's the problem? I only shot a nigga. Now, there was a white man in Memphis running from the police in his truck with his child in the car. He had a gun. He started shooting at the police. The police returned fire, killed the little boy. Those 2 black officers who returned fire, their black ass is sitting in jail, charged with a crime because they killed that white boy. Their black ass is in jail. They went to jail that very night for killing that little white boy. Now his daddy is shooting at them. They return fire. The little white boy died. They go to jail. 40 years each. Thank you, Brother Roy. You better think. You better think. Y'all know the white girl who sent the brother to jail because the bitch dreamed he raped her. She dreamed it. He didn't actually rape her. She dreamed he raped her. No physical evidence. He goes to jail on her dream. Her dream is more powerful than no physical evidence. Another one just happened not too long ago. Black man go to jail because the eyewitness said, I saw him do it. But the eyewitness is blind. Can't fucking see. But you said he committed the crime. He went away and did the real time. And it's just now coming out that he was blind, that he couldn't see. Now, I don't know how you let some shit like that go. A white woman can have a dream and you go to jail. A blind cracker can say you did something and you go to jail. Jail is just an open fucking door waiting to see how many blacks I can get in there. Here are real crimes that happen and nobody ever go to jail. Look here, in Birmingham, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, they used to call Birmingham Bombingham. Because these crackers was blowing up our houses, our churches. Birmingham. Blowing them up. Y'all remember the 4 little girls? 16th Street Baptist Church? Birmingham. Now, I went to visit this church because they turned a part of it to like a museum. And knowing, see, look, you all who believe in this Christianity that these crackers give you, here's a church where you're praying to their white God and they still put a bomb in there to blow your ass up. It should teach you that they're not godly people. They are satanic people. Yes, Mike, they do have that Lynch Memorial in Alabama. And I have yet to get there, but I will see it. For me, I want to always be able to hear the cries of our people. Because knowing what our people went through, understanding it, being able to feel it, when you're out front and you're in the seat of power, it's your turn to bring justice. It's your turn to bring justice to our people. And y'all know I've said it many times. Justice is not a diplomatic language. Justice is a war language. We suffered long enough. That's right, Deke. We suffered long enough, family. It's time to end the suffering. You know, when what's his name? Rand Paul was running for president. He went up to Harlem, New York, speaking to black people. And he said, I like what Malcolm X said. Malcolm X said, don't beg a man for justice. You go take justice. And that's right. You don't beg another man for justice. You take justice. You take justice. Trust and believe we will get justice. We will get justice. There will be no escape for them. There will be no escape. You're going to understand and you're going to know that black people, we are God's people. And you have rung amok over us. Pronounce the acceptable day of vengeance. The day of our God. See, you got to understand that America, I don't give a damn how much you pray for them. Their fate is sealed. Death has been their judge. You can pray for them all damn day you want to. It ain't gonna stop. It ain't gonna turn them around. And they're gonna pay, Brother Roy. And their children are gonna pay. Trust and believe. Ain't none getting away. It sickens me to hear our people talk about, oh, let's pray for our country. Like God loves America. Like this is a God-centered country. God damn America. You're living in the divine destruction of America. Every white person on this earth is on death row. Every white person is on death row. And look here, if you're white-minded, you and your black skin, but you got a white mind, you on death row too. You on death row too. So you better get your mind right. You better get your mind right. Because it ain't no plan. You look at them, you know who they are. You know what they are. You better understand it. Because it ain't no play. Ain't no play. Playtime is over. It's about business. It's about business. And they can't save you. You got a white savior as your savior, they can't save you. They can't save you. They can't save themselves. It's already written. Already written. The love you should have is for your people. It's for your people. That's who you offer love to. Our people are some of the most ignorant people on this planet, not because they are just that way, but there was things done to make you into that. And it's time for you to come up out of that. It's time for you to come up out of that. I want to hurry up and get to one last point on this video, because we're running. I didn't expect to be this long, but I want to get to here. Let's see.
But as a rule, they are a very happy people. A large percent of them do not worry because they know that they're going to be taken care of. I've had a number of them to remark to me that, well, they know Mr. Brown or Mr. Jones, Mr. Smith's going to take care of us. They know that. They know that they're not going hungry. And they're not going to need for clothes as long as they'll work and do halfway right. They know that they're going to be taken care of. So they have no worries.
White folks were so good to me that when I got sick and disabled to work, they just come in, bring me something to eat, clothes, and everything. Fed me, clothed me, and I had a house full of children, and they fed my children. Yes, sir, I've been working all of my life, and the white folks raised me. Mister, I tell you the truth, I don't know what in the world I'd do without white folks. Now, that's the truth. And misters, I'm just a white folks nigger. I'm a nigger and all of my children's a nigger. And all this community in here of Mississippi recognize, appreciate, and work for the white folks. He's not the
Now, our sister, she said, I'm a white folk nigger. My children are white folk niggers. All of us in Mississippi, we white folk niggers. You took a God, a woman of God, and made her into a nigger. And then she teaches it to her children, to her children, to her grandchildren. And it's there, and it's over time. It keeps on building and building. And we have to pull that out of them. That's why we say, you kill the nigger in you, I'll kill the nigger in me, and our God will reign supreme. Because they worked on our head that it's acceptable to be the white folks' nigger. We ain't your niggas. You gonna pay for that. You gonna pay for that. We got work to do. On my last video, let's look at this. Because some think, no, I got two more videos. Some think that the white children are better. The present day white children are better than their fathers and their mothers and their grandmothers and great grandmothers. Think that they're better than them. That you ain't got to deal with racism with them. That they want to kumbaya and kick it with you and, love at you. Look at this cracker right here.
This is Benjamin Watson. He's a former...
Hold on. Not that video. This video. Here we go.
Because we made it up. And none of you guys would be able to say that word if my ancestors didn't decide to call you black people niggers all the way back in those old days. And so what do you guys do to try and show your appreciation for coming up with your best word to call your best friend nigga as you pass each other in the hall? You do what all good black people do. You stole it. All I'm doing here is just trying to take back what's already ours.
Now that heifer talking about we stole the N-word from her and her people since they the ones who created the word. And she's using it because she's taking it back. That ugly ass heifer ain't no better than her daddy, granddaddy, great-great-granddaddy. They all the same. They all the same. They don't have no love for you. None. None. But you got to understand that you should not want to love them. You should not want to love them. It's perfectly fine for you to have hatred for them. There's nothing wrong with it. Look at all that they have done. Look at all of what they have done. Time over. You ain't the white person's nigga no more. We got to whoop that ass. So in our last video, this is what we advocate. This is what should be.
She did. She did. I don't want to hear. She did. She called us a nigger. I don't care. She definitely called us a nigger. She definitely did. That's disrespectful. To me and your kind, you can call me what you want, but you don't call me no nigger. You don't call me no nigger. You don't call me no nigger. You want to call me, but you don't call me no nigger. I don't give a fuck.
Pull all of goddamn wig out.
You want nobody no nigger.
Whoop her ass.
No, you're not sorry, bitch. Say nigger again. Say nigger again. Say it again, bitch. Say it again, bitch. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Who's the nigger now? Who's the nigger now? Bitch, who's the nigger? She called us a nigger in Safeway. For real? Yeah, she did. Bitch, don't call me like that. She did. She did. I don't want to hear. She did. She called us a nigger. I don't care. She definitely called us a nigger. She definitely did. That's disrespectful. To me and your kind, you can call me what you want, but you don't call me no nigger.
Hell yeah, I approve this. I approve that ass whooping all the way. Whoop that ass.
No, you're not sorry, bitch.
You see gonna learn. You leave black people alone. We gonna whoop your ass.
The nigger. She called us a nigger in Safeway.
For real?
Yeah, she did. She did. She did. She did. She did. She called us a nigger. She definitely called us a nigger. She definitely did. That's disrespectful. To me and your kind, you can call me what you want, but you don't call me no nigga. You don't call me no nigga.
Nobody comes to save that ass. I wish she'd have pulled all the damn hair out.
You don't call nobody no nigga. No, you're not sorry, bitch. Say nigga again. Say nigga again. Say it again, bitch. Say it again, bitch. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Who's the nigga now? Who's the nigga now? The nigger. She called us a nigger in Safeway.
For real?
Yeah, she did. She did. She did. She did. She did. She called us a nigger. She definitely called us a nigger. She definitely did. That's disrespectful. To me and your kind, you can call me what you want, but you don't call me no nigga. You don't call me no nigga. You don't call me no nigga.
She's gonna learn how to act right now. It's that act right got on her ass. She's gonna learn.
No, you're not sorry, bitch. Say nigga again. Say nigga again. Say it again, bitch. Say it again, bitch. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Who's the nigga now? Who's the nigga now?
Exactly. She got that with
The nigger. She called us a nigger in Safeway.
For real?
Yeah, she did.
Whoop that ass.
She did. She did. She did. She did. She called us a nigger. She definitely
Put
called us
this
a
up in the
nigger.
live stream.
She definitely did. That's disrespectful. To me and your kind, you can call me what you want, but you don't call me no nigga. You don't call me no nigga. You don't call me no nigga. You don't call me what you don't call me no nigga. I don't give a fuck. Especially coming from your side. You don't call nobody no nigga. No, you're not sorry, bitch. Say nigga again. Say nigga again. Say it again, bitch. Say it again, bitch. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Who's the nigga now? Who's the nigga now? Who's the nigger? She called us a nigger in Safeway.
Good video. Good video. Good video. Nah, the coward won't fight back. Because she expects somebody to come to her rescue. How she holding on to the black brother, trying to get him to protect her. Ain't no protection for you. Your day is up. So, family, I thank you for hanging with me for these 2 hours. I didn't expect to be 2 hours, but it was a good 2 hours that we had together. I want us to understand that there ain't nothing wrong with hating our enemy. That's what we should do. That's what our God says that we should do. It is our right to hate the enemy. You should love your own. Love your own people. Love your own. You want to have compassion for your own. Have compassion for your own. We got to be a people that love each other, that we protect one another. We stand up for one another. We back each other. And we protect. You know, when they say the Southern way of living, that's like a dog whistle to white people. They say, oh, we gotta wrestle the posse. We gotta call the posse together. But we gotta protect each other. We gotta be ready to go to battle for each other. We cannot do like that MMM fighter did to that teenage brother and broke his heart. We got to get involved. That is the Black First way. That is our way. That is our way. And I thank you all for joining. I thank you all for staying with us for this whole 2 hours. And we'll be doing more. I got to get back into this where we're doing these sessions because they are good and definitely beneficial. And I thank you all again for staying with us as we continue to do what we do, because it's all about the love for our people. It's all about the love for our people. We are beautiful people. We are the Creator's nation. We are beautiful people. We just got to get it together. We got to get it together. And that's right around the corner. So as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first. Today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
So you better get the message and get it straight. You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that. Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.